What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre, the reviews and reviews, back in here with one more video. Guys, I'm gonna do a much different video today than what I normally do. Let me know in the comment box down below if you appreciate these types of videos. But I was looking back into my catalog randomly. I was checking through my comments, which I really never do anymore because they come in so rapidly now. But I woke up in the morning, flipped up on my YouTube Studio app, was looking at my comments, and took a look, and then saw someone commented on this video that I uploaded damn near a year ago. And I went through and I briefly just started looking through the video, and I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. I actually think I have a lot of content a year ago, back when I used to do like a lot of group reactions, that I think has invaluable information, invaluable data. So what I wanted to do here today is to go through and kind of break down what this video is, at least the first portion of what this video is, and give you my thoughts in the moment. There's some things that you're gonna see happening and you see me thinking about certain things. And what I tell you guys all day is sometimes in order to get your point across, you cannot be demanding. You have to evoke a degree of soft skills to talk people off of the proverbial ledge. Now, the video was an alpha male strategies reaction video to how to know when a woman is choosing you, okay? So what AMS is initially going over is how women can throw out choosing signals before you initiate contact with them, and what those choosing signals might look like, and the degree of how feminine women choose and the things that you have to look out for. But then was also mentioning that, but masculine women will come up to you anyway. And I think he says something like grenade looking women will come up to you anyway and will try to assert in talking to you and getting your number or what have you. So I'm going to pick up the conversation from our reaction from that point. And you know what? Just sit back and watch. Let's go through it.
So the first thing you want to know is how they the signals they gonna send out. Guys, if you in a club and a girl is at a bar and you way over here across the fucking room and you look up in 10 minutes, she right there dancing a hand within arm lengths away from you, guys, that woman has fucking chosen you. She ain't just miraculously came up out the floor over there. She done made her way over there about you to make your approach that much easier. And understand what I'm saying?
They always seem to do it when you're not looking.
She's trying to make it as easy as she can. She's putting
just end up right there
in your vicinity so you can make an easy approach. That way you don't have to feel like you're making an awkward approach coming up to her at the bar around all her friends. She's making it as easy and as obvious as she can. And in this situation, a lot of you guys think you so motherfucking fly, you think like, well, shit, I'll just let her go and do the whole approach. No, she not going. A feminine woman is still not gonna make the approach. So you're gonna have to make the approach. All right. Now,
I see you shaking your head no, as opposed to what you probably should be shaking, which is yes, because that was clear facts.
Don't tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing.
Clear. Ooh.
Now, listen, guys, here's the first thing that I wanted to call out. Now, I want to say this is like her second AMS video. And guys that watch Alpha Male Strategies, you know that the particular language that he uses is for guys. This is how dudes talk to each other. We all know this. But for a lot of women, it's newer information that guys talk to each other like this, or maybe if like they didn't have brothers or something like that, hearing it immediately conflicts with the information that they hear about themselves on media. So they're not used to the criticisms that guys might have in a guy's space about women. So I always went into these conversations and understanding that I might get pushback because of how they're interpreting the words, that the actual vernacular that's coming out of AMS's mouth, as opposed to actually listening to the information. So what you just saw, what I just saw, or what I was thinking a year ago when she said that, which is, don't tell me what to think or something like that, is that she was having an immediate emotional reaction to hearing AMS use certain words to describe feminine or masculine women. But watch how I handle it real quick, and we're gonna jump back into it because there's a lot of y'all that would say, you know, in your minds that this is the degree of an act of war because now she is being combative and trying to take over the conversation. But let's just see how I handle it. Let's see how I try to get it back on the rails, and I'll chime back in.
Hold on. You was talking earlier about, do you take offense to this because you shoot shots at dudes?
No, I think I have an even mix, but I have my own opinion on women shooting shots anyway.
Just real quick. So what I did right there is I think it's key to understand, and I think it's very important to understand. Instead of meeting combativeness with combativeness, what I attempted to do right there is to understand why she was being combative. And I think that is key. I think it's key because, listen, as you guys already noticed on the channel, I love to absorb information because the more data that I have about a situation, the better that I can make a future decision more in line with of an outcome that I actually want. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to have these conversations with women right next to me or men right next to me that turns combative in nature. That's not what I'm trying to do on this channel. That's not what I'm trying to show. But I think it's key is when you feel that sense of combativeness, and at the end of the day, to a degree of what she could be doing is a shit test, right? But let me try to hit it like this. I don't think shit tests are necessarily bad. What it is that she is trying to, and this is through evolution, she is trying to test you to understand your degree of your masculinity or how you handle yourself in different situations. She's testing your maturity level, okay? And I think that there's evolutionary factors that women enact within that they don't even realize themselves, but that's how they're self-selecting men in or out of the dating marketplace for themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So I think to sum all that up, what I'm trying to do here is to further understand why did she come up to this conclusion that I am trying to force her within a answer to a particular question and then come about it in a combative way. So let me go back into it and let's continue the conversation.
Well, can I hear that opinion? Because it's probably different the way he just said it.
Sure. I know. I don't think it's about being masculine or feminine. I don't know why we are so quick to assign masculinity or femininity to most characteristics that don't genuinely have anything to do with it.
So you can't see it right here, but the light bulb is going off of my head. As you can see, I'm looking at the camera right now because the light bulb was going off of my head. Up to this point, I didn't know that she had this idea of not liking gender roles. I didn't like that at all. Because to me, listening to AMS, I'm interpreting this information like, damn, this makes a lot of sense. Like, damn, yeah, back in my past and my history, generally the women that come up and are forthright are, you know what I'm saying, probably not the most feminine or not the most bad of women. Like, they just are, so they have to take more shots. It is what it is. I mean, dudes actually go through this as well. Like, dudes with a high degree of value are not necessarily taking shots at everybody. Because why? Because they don't have to, or they wait for the appropriate choosing signals in order to then take that shot. But it varies to the degree between male and female, obviously, okay? But anyway, that's when I'm just figuring this out. So what you're seeing over here is, aha, I got the information that I needed. So now I know how to traverse the conversation in understanding her particular views on this topic. Let's go on, because she's starting to articulate herself. Let's see what other information we could grab from this.
Or even still, even if it did have to do with masculinity or femininity, the connotation behind it, his tone, his derogatory remarks regarding women who do it, whatever, are obviously negative.
So, what do we just figure out right here? This is key, guys. All right, this is key. We just figured out two things. Not only does she have a problem with gender roles, but you saw what she did right there is that she tried to consider it. Because, and here's the thing, is that I think to a degree she heard what he was saying and agreed, but didn't want to agree. She didn't want to agree. Why? Because of the second thing that she mentioned in there, which was, I didn't like his attitude. I didn't like how he was talking about women. Okay? So there's two things that I picked up just with asking a simple question. Just two things that I picked up that I can now use as ammo within the conversation going into the future. This is soft skills 101. Okay? Just because someone else reacts doesn't mean that you have to react. Okay? Seek to respond. Now imagine if I lost my cool in that situation. What you mean? What you mean you not gonna? What you talk about? How productive of a conversation would that have been? Not very productive. Might have gained a couple of extra views from people that are looking for drama, but that's not what I'm trying to do on this channel. There's a higher level goal and a purpose. I think a lot of you have caught on to that. Let's move on.
And so I don't know why associating masculinity in women or femininity in men is always looked at as negative, let alone why we assign a gender to characteristics as opposed to what they actually are. If a person is bold,
what you're also seeing right here, guys, is she's thinking on the fly. And again, what she's coming up to is the difference of what she's been fed, the information that she's been fed versus the truths that she is now uncovering. That's what you're hearing, which is why I think it is the benefit of showing this type of information to people that don't believe this type of stuff, because it forces thought if they are introspective in nature. And she's introspective in nature. All right, let's keep going.
then they're bold because they're bold, or because they're extroverted, or because they're what, or because they're whatever. I don't think it's a gender-based thing. So that's my thing with that.
Well, let's pressure test that for a second. So let's take out the way that he communicated, because it sounds like you have a problem with the way he communicated. Also, let's take out your prior knowledge of him in his video. And let's just pressure test the idea that feminine women typically don't holla at dudes.
So again, what did I say right there? With the data that I took in, with the data that I had now, I said, boom, let's take out that you don't like gender roles. Boom, let's take out that you don't like him as a person because how he is talking about women. And let's just focus on the subject, okay? What I'm doing is I'm removing the quagmire. I am removing the gaps that is not allowing her to hone in on a truth, okay? I'm removing those out the equation, all right? Now, oftentimes what happens in a conversation, if they are less introspective, is you'll try to remove these roadblocks and they just refuse to remove them, because without the removal, then their argument, to them at least, without the removal, their argument breaks down to them. It's still broken down to me, but what I say all the time on this channel, just because you are accurate in something or just because your logic makes sense doesn't help you win arguments or conversations, okay? Let's move on.
Like typically more traditional, so when we say feminine, you're generally more traditional, more old school. Generally, they wait to be talked to. That's what he's saying, without all the extra rhetoric. Do you not agree with that?
I agree. Old school, yes. Societal, yes. Do I think that's an inherently feminine thing, though? No.
She agreed traditional, old school. She agreed societal, right? But then she still disagrees because of her preconceived notions that she brought into the conversation. So really, she's agreeing. She's agreeing. But her beliefs going into the conversation forces the misalignment of logic. It's fascinating to watch in real time. And I don't know if you guys slow down the videos, because like I said before, it's a treasure trove of information that happens within these dialogues. Let's move on. Let's see how she concludes.
I think everybody wants to be approached, and I think it's a matter of how assertive you are, how aggressive you are. Whereas in men, aggression or assertiveness is seen as positive, whereas a lot of times in women, it's seen as negative. Which is, I think, why a lot of women don't shoot their shot in the first place, which is why I kind of said that was my opinion.
Now, what she's doing here is she's still working it out in her head. And what she said, what I thought was pretty interesting, is that she said aggression in men is seen as positive. Aggression in women is seen as negative. I think what she is conflicted with is that through biology, men tend to exhibit more aggression on average. Via biology, women do so less so. And within the biology is the key distinction between masculinity and femininity. Now, I get to a degree of aggression. Like at the end of the day, I think when I think of aggression in women, I think of combativeness in interpersonal relationship, and that's where my mind goes because of my own biases. And yes, I don't like that shit. But also, I don't like combativeness amongst my male friends as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not something. Now, I am willing to tolerate it more, but that's because we have a friendship as opposed to being in a relationship with someone else. That's not something that I would want ever. And here's the thing, from a biology perspective, if it comes to protecting this house, or you want me to be aggressive, or you want me to handle the situation, you want me to go to war, you want me to handle in the ways that I know how to handle situations, you want it then. So there's degrees both from a gender roles perspective as well as a societal perspective that does allow men to get away with certain other aggressive things that women are shunned upon. So I agree to a degree. But again, what you guys are seeing is fascinating in this conversation. You're watching her deconstruct how this all makes sense to her and how it clashes with her belief system. Let's keep going.
Men, or kind of like what he's touching on, like, oh, she'd be ready to give it up to you, blah, 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 blah. A lot of time when a woman is seen as shooting, or when a woman is shooting her shot, it's seen as, oh, she wants to have sex with me. Or I shouldn't say a lot of time, that's what I've experienced. Versus, I just want to get to know you. I want to know what's up with you, whatever.
But just real quick, so when you say shooting your shot, he's not saying that women don't shoot their shot, feminine women don't shoot their shot. He's saying they shoot it differently. Facts. And the way that they shoot it is giving you a man choosing signals.
But that's not shooting your shot. That's passive aggressive. That's, I'm trying to get you to shoot your shot at me.
Well, but he's saying that is more of a traditional woman, you know, because, I mean, and that's the way typically, you know, you think of like, you know.
I think what she was doing there is she was trying to tie that women shooting their shot in the ways that AMS was describing is still negative. Why do I think that? Because she said passive aggressive. When she said that, I remember thinking to myself a year ago, no, I don't think it's aggressive. I bystepped that point because I didn't want to get stuck on, well, what's passive aggressive? And then have the conversation continue in that manner. I didn't want to get stuck there, so I just bypassed that point. I think it's a passive way to interact with somebody. I don't think it's passive aggressive. But again, I didn't want to get stuck on that point and then turn into a 2-minute conversation on what is passive aggressive and what is not, like the definitions of it. Let's move on.
The way dudes talk to women versus how women talk to dudes, usually the dude is the pursuer. So to have a woman try to pursue at first, that's how it's coupled into like more masculine or feminine traits.
Right, but
now, but I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying necessarily if you know.
Hold up! Did you guys just notice what happened? Soft skills 101. Let's let the lesson continue. What just happened? The key words. The key words, you know, and here's the thing. You know, I talk about diversity of experiences throughout my life. I learned this working at a call center when I was an undergraduate. I talk about this on time to time on my channel. My first like real job working at a call center for Bank of America back in the day. I was hustling credit cards. I was hustling and collecting on credit card debts. One of the things that they would teach is the showing empathy for the other person who you were trying to close the sale on or close the deal on, right? And one of the key words that they would teach us when doing second attempts is, I understand. I understand. Listen, The I understand phrase is so damn helpful. It's so damn helpful in calming people down in their initial combativeness. And I wish I knew it earlier on in my life. I understand you. Saying something as simple as that and then continuing on in your thought. And then notice what she did. As soon as I said, I understand, it's one of the first times that, at least I can remember right now, that you see this body language from her. So now it brings us closer together in a conversation where she no longer sees me as well. Because right now she's tying me to AMS. And she sees AMS as an adversary. And she sees me as an adversary. And what I'm trying to do is talk her off. First of all, remove all of the illogical imperfections that she's bringing into the conversation, the belief system that she's bringing into a conversation, and deconstruct it where I can push the conversation forward in a way where we can all come to an understanding, me, myself, as well as you being the viewers as well. And in using the I understand phrase, it's a disarming technique to help them get closer or more aligned to the positions that you are trying to pursue. Let me show you.
So to have a woman try to pursue at first, that's how it's coupled into like more masculine or feminine traits.
Right, but
now, But I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying necessarily if...
As soon as I said I don't understand.
You know, if she's like choosing and you guys get engaged in a conversation and then she says something like, oh, but do you have an Instagram? And then open up the phone and then, you guys, exchange contact and then she DMs you like... I think that's kind of the slippery slope, right? Like, because she has chose you and she's making obvious advances to exchange number.
To exchange information, sure, but I think the shot itself can only begin at the approach. And whether that approach be, oh, I saw you on Instagram and I decided to DM you, or I saw you in person and I decided to walk up to you, from whatever perspective, I don't know. I think it's in the approach. And he's seeing masculine women approach, and then that's less desirable somehow.
Now, we've gone from you ain't gonna tell me what to answer to now, okay, removed the illogical, all right, the logical fallacies, remove the logical fallacies, remove or tone down the belief system, separated or deconstructed myself from the person who the brunt of her aggression is towards, AMS. And now I use phrases such as I understand. And now we've gotten to a point where there's not combativeness and there's an allowance of thought, okay? Because you began to see us kind of speaking over each other and it's not a battle at this point, okay? So now we can continue and can continue to have a conversation that can be fruitful in discussion. Guys, I'm gonna leave a link to the full video down to the description box down below, just so you can see how the conversation concludes. I thought it was a great discussion. The video actually goes for another 30 minutes, which is unbelievable that I used to do videos for that for that length of time. But I wanted to bring this to you. I wanted to show it to you. I wanted to get into my thoughts at the current time and how I navigate different conversations to elicit certain responses. I think that it's key in the development of your soft skills as an individual. Do I get it right 100% of the time? No, right? I'm not infallible. I'm still trying to get better at it. But I do think that it's a skill set that you must gain. You know how else you can utilize this type of skill set? When you're dating. when you're dating, okay? You can utilize this to win women over, okay? Not failing shit test, okay? Being able to have them at least think that you completely understand the craziness that might that might go on in their minds, okay? And then being able to convince them of something, or at least to stand high enough within your confidence, your morals, and your points that they have to respect you. Oh, I'm telling you it works. All right? I'm telling you it works. That has been my video. That has been my reaction. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Hit me up on my Instagram. Continue to send me things to react to. All right. I also got a Patreon as well. The Patreon and the Discord. Oh, the information is incredible up there. All right. I'll keep it funky with you guys. I've only recently, the information up there has always been incredible. But right now, there's workshops, there's discussion groups. We got some folks, uploading free software that they find across the internet. The resources, fitness, training, gaming. I mean, it's a whole community up there, and we're hundreds deep, okay? Go up there, click on the link down in the description box down below if you're interested on more information, how to develop more soft skills, how to develop more into a high-value man or person, because we do got women up there as well that participated a lot, okay? If you want to do that, click on the link down in the description box down below, and let's continue to have these conversations. At the end of the day, if you don't have charisma, then you have to rely on other things. What are those other things? Especially for dudes, money, status, fame, all of these other things. But if you don't have charisma, you have to, okay? Build up your charisma, build up your soft skills, build up how you initiate conversations and maintain conversations. It is an invaluable skill set to have. Until next time, you two. Peace!